I believe when you are here, you already have one of the versions of our product, either is space for yourself or space for work. We know that it can be overwhelmed opening any of our box because it's not a simple tool. So, first of all, I just want to share with you the mindset that I have when I use our product. It is like a box of food ingredients.
Mm.
It's hard for you to remember which ingredients you have in your fridge until you open it. And you were like, oh, I have garlic. Oh, I have beef. Oh, I have fish. Okay, this is what I can cook. So think of the box like that. You open it and you see, I have this part. Oh, I remember I have this part too. I have this part too. And then you start to play with it. So if you think about it that way, you might end up having many, many different dishes that feels natural to you. You don't have to follow any step or recipe. Just cook it by yourself by being playful. And I remember one night we are still in prototype phase and I just look through the product.
The cards.
The cards to
Hmm.
be exact. I turn to Omo and say, "Look at the deck. And can you tell me three parts you want me to turn up and three parts that you want me to turn down." Super random, but it ends up that I can hear a lot of truth from Omo without feeling offended. There is no hard moments, and all of that are truth and feel really playful. And that game became one of the exercise that we put into the book for
Mm.
you to try. But the point is, it's so random and it's so much fun doing that.
Yeah, it's funny when we were creating the product, Mai would always make the point that she thinks of these as ingredients, and it is really hard to sometimes remember all the different ingredients or parts of you that there really are inside. It's hard. If you ask somebody, they'll run out real quickly, including me, including Mai. And while we were working on the product, I kept forgetting. I just kept forgetting which parts were even in the product, which characters on the light side or the dark side or creators or guardians really are there. When we would go out to people and show them what we were developing to get feedback in this prototype phase, we were always blown away, first of all, that everybody would say, I have all of these. So it's like we have all the same ingredients in our cabinet or fridge, as Mai said, and that's amazing. It's universal, and it really is about which ones we spend the most, that we're used to. Sometimes when I'm cooking at home, I'll make the same dish over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that's a little bit like the parts of you, where you start to get used to over time in your life certain parts of you that are familiar. So you start relying on them. I like to call it like there's a party going on in your head, and there's the same, you go up to John in the corner every single day and talk to John because John is your familiar part. And there's a whole room of people that you could talk to, but you get used to it. So you keep hearing the same part of you over and over and over. But really, there's this like magical, really playful community of people in your head that once you bring those online and you really establish relationships with them and you go through these ingredients, you can combine them and play with them and engage with them in ways that make life a lot more tasty.
Yeah, that reminds me of a memory between me and my mom. You know, parents are like people we know for our whole life. And when we think of them, we think of the things that they always tell us. She always like tell me what to eat, right? But the thing is, one time we brought the prototype to my family to
Mm.
play with my family and explore different parts of them. My family has 10 people, age like 8-year-old to nearly 80-year-old, and we gather for 90 minutes. And we play the game that you might see in the book, the gratitude game and the turn it up, turn it down game. And that 90 minutes, a few people cries, a lot of laughters, and by the end of that session, my niece, who is in her 18, she texted her mom and say, I wish every day is like that because I feel like everybody is so real and
Mm.
is the connection is so strong that I've never felt that way in our family, and the dynamic is just so emotional for me, and she was crying, and I cried too because I didn't expect that. The thing is, we always think of our family or the people who we know, and including ourselves, like fixed in a box.
Mhm.
It's just that we don't create opportunity, or we don't have the vehicle or the language to explore more parts of ourselves and each other, and it's purely magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just think we know ourselves, we think we know our family, we think we know our partners, we think we know our colleagues, but there's always so much more to know about all of those things, including yourself. The playful part you're talking about is so important. And I also like to think a little bit about when, the mindset of like when to be doing this, the when part, or how to think about where it fits into my life. I like to think of some coaching clients that I worked with, both of which I worked with independently. These guys were, they were married for, I guess they're at the time, maybe around 17, 18 years, and they would trigger each other like crazy. I mean, one person would open their mouth and it would just trigger the other person, it would trigger the other person, and they just could not engage with each other without getting upset. So when I sat down with them and we went through their ingredients, the wife's ingredients and the husband's ingredients, and they got to know them and really then share it with each other. And they quickly realized that he had a miser part that was very, very kind of scarcity mindset around resources. And she got to see and understand, oh, that's where that's coming from and how and why. And by the way, the reason why, and I'm responding with my self-critical part, and she, had a name for that part and was sharing it with him. And that's what reminds me of that. And that's what I'm responding. And it just completely, once they both had the vocabulary of it, and they would practice some of these, on their own, getting to know these parts of themselves with each other and so forth in these slower moments, to where when they're just living day-to-day life in the game or on the field, they got more and more used to like where these things were coming from and who they really were with each other, and they got just better and better and better at it. So that's the way I like to think of it. I think one of the most beautiful things about this is when you really immerse yourself in connection with different parts of yourself and gain that kind of understanding, sit down, go through, whether it's space for work and you're understanding these are my creators, these are my guardians, this is when and where they show up, or you're in space for yourself and you're looking at these are my dark characters, these are my light characters, here's where they show up. Something about being in that environment and practicing the skill that you're going to learn in this course around liquid cooling, it really changes the way that you engage with other people. And I'll give you a story about that too, which is, and maybe Mai will be better at telling some of this. I'll set it up for you, Mai. But I remember at the beginning of our relationship, we started to get into some pretty hard conversations, and the headline of this example, and then we'll tell you the details. But the headline is: if I had not sat down and gone through a lot of the work on myself, I wouldn't have been able to make the, no pun intended, space for you when we were talking to be able to receive her. And the situation was you were really upset about something. I don't remember what.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit of the context. We were at the beginning of our relationship, and I um always have a pleaser part inside of me. Every time there is a truth that is hard to share, I will struggle a lot. Like sometimes it's blocked in my throat. I just
Mm,
can't tell the truth to people. That I know that that truth might hurt people. I can't
mhm,
tell. So that night, I really feel that tension in my chest, and I want to say it out loud. And I actually used the teen card in the deck, and I told Omo, my teen wants to leave you. My teen wants out of the relationship. And the moment I said it out loud, of course I felt really relief. And I just tried to, my pleaser was like, but it's just a part of me, a part of me wants to leave you, not the whole of me. It turns out to be a very memorable moment of our relationship, of
mhm.
telling the truth without misunderstanding the other person. And yeah. is a breakthrough moment for both of us.
Yeah, and it really is because of this mindset.